Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I wanted to touch back on folding knives and go over a couple, because even though I have been carrying a fixed blade for a while, I'm still carrying a folding knife with me as well. Just because some days I get into stuff where I'm cutting down cardboard boxes for a few hours and I don't want to have to walk for a second blade in case one goes dull. That's about the reason for that, and I love knives. So, as most of you know, here 6 months ago or so, I had to replace a knife that I never wanted to have to replace. And I got this Sig K320. I've done some videos on that. I carried that for a while. Not a bad knife. The one downfall I have, or kind of did, is the opening on this cutout. Never did fully get used to it, you know. And being the action and everything, this thing opens just by pulling it back and a little wrist flick. It works great. So just my clumsiness or lack of simple motor skills makes this one a little less than desirable to carry. But other than that and the edge is a little chippy. I'm trying a different grind on it right now, see if I can help that out. But other than that, pretty good all-around knife. I could go into a lot of detail. But then, I can't remember if then I picked up this knife here. This Kershaw, I think it's a Launch 7 or something like that. I really like the shape of this. It feels good in the hand. It's got a real pokiness to it. I don't mind the blade length in use. And I carried this for a while, and it's really pretty good. But this handle is just, to have that much blade, you have to have that much handle. And I would sacrifice a little bit more blade length, keep that narrow profile if it was, you know, a little shorter. It just rides a little too deep in my pocket getting in and out of the vehicle all the time. Just a little too much there. The clip seems to work okay. It's not a deep carry clip, so that helps in that particular situation, how deep it rides in your pocket actually. So I'll get into that here maybe a little bit more in a minute. But still, that action, it's, you know, it comes out nice, solid, and hard. It's, you know, works well, but closing it one-handed, I'm always worried about fumbling it or something like that. Sometimes my hands will be sweaty or whatever. So it's not perfect. So anyways, I went and I got this Ritter Hogue. This is a fantastic, fantastic knife. And you can see people glow about this. You know, that action to open is nice. Closing one-handed does everything great. Just wonderful. But this is bigger in the pocket. Thickness-wise, just enough and enough texture that the back of my hand rubs on it, going in and out of pocket to grab things. And it rides, you know, has a little bit of a deep carry pocket clip there. And it rides pretty deep. And it just, after in and out of the vehicle 20, 30 times and getting sweaty and stuff, it's there and it's annoying. I'm having to move it in my pocket, and I don't like it. But if you compare pocket clip depth to pocket clip depth, this one, and I know it's kind of hard to see in the video here, probably, but we'll try to do our best. So if you're riding straight across here for your pocket clip wise, so that's pretty close. You know, it's riding a little bit deeper in the pocket here. So, I mean, you have a little bit more. Plus, it's broader across there as well. And we'll go ahead and show this one here too. This is a deep pocket clip carry. So if you run that at the same depth, it's not that much shorter than this one for how deep this one goes. So this one's thinner. This one is thin plus narrow. This one's just a little thicker, thinner than that one. Like I said, knife reviews are kind of worthless in a sense, other than just trying to compare side by side of what you may think will fit in your pocket the way you want it to. It's a challenge, more than what I think most people realize when they're carrying, because, you know, you tell my wife that I have 4 different knives, and, well, that's being absurd and a guy thing. No, there's that different uses for different times. Different pants fit differently. So anyways, I went out and still on the hunt for the perfect knife, so I got another one because these were just a little bit much in the pocket. I'm carrying this fixed blade around with me, and blade-wise, so I'm carrying two knives. Blade-wise, yeah, it's a little smaller than that one, but functionally wise and holding edge wise and everything, this is a 20 CV, this is S35VN, and I can sharpen a knife, and I can sharpen both of them just fine. So any edge wear difference is going to be negligible to me. In fact, this CPM 154, I think is what it is, this stuff holds up just fine for me. I actually like, they done all right on the heat treat on this one. This one, it holds up well. I got to sharpen it like at 25 degrees, so it's a pretty good convex edge, but it's still really slicey, even with that little bit more geometry on there, but it holds up great as well. So, anyways, flip those open. I went out and got another knife. And since Hogue did me so well on this pocket clip that I'd broke, and I got a video on that, they warranted a pocket clip, which to me that wasn't necessary. And any company who's willing to stand behind their product to that level of depth, I'm gonna patronize them, especially since they're made in America. As far as I know, a lot of their materials are sourced in America. They're using like the CPM 30Vs and the 154s and the MagnaCut now. And I know the MagnaCut and the CPMs, all those are American-made steels. So, you know, sourcing stuff from America, making them in America, that means a bit to me. So I got this little Hogue Deca. And again, videos are so misleading because I know no matter what I do here, putting this up and comparing them side by side and feeling it in my hand doesn't do any justice, because I've watched every single video on this knife. I wanted to see how it compared, so I watched any video that compared these two together, because, you know, they're kind of common in there. And I'll do the same for you. I'll lay these two side by side, try to get them like axis to axis there, and you can see axis to axis, the blade length isn't too bad far off from the Ritter, the Ritter Hogue, however you want to call it. And handle length is don't know if I showed on this one earlier, but this has one heck of a good handle. I mean, that's a full purchase. This thing, I feel like I could get into something with this handle. This handle's freaking phenomenal. For this knife here makes having a fixed blade a real discussion of whether you actually need to be carrying a everyday carry fixed blade or a small fixed blade at all when you could carry this thing. It just feels so solid. There's no flex in this at all. When I'm squeezing that, it does not flex. You may see me shake just because I'm trying to squeeze that hard, but I can't get that to move. So good solid knife, but was just too big in my pocket for everyday carry. Since we're talking about strength and stuff, I want to put this Sig, it's made by Hogue for Sig K320. This is their polymer handles, and if I place middle to middle there, right behind that, I cannot squeeze that. But if I come down here a little closer to the edge, give her a good little squeeze, I can get it to move, but just barely. So where you'd grip at, you would never get this to flex. The liner on this comes all the way back to here. It comes in at an angle, kind of like through here, back to here. The Ritter Hogue. I don't know if I can get to where you can actually see that in there. Maybe you can. It's coming back up to the screw, so it's inlaid in there through this area here as well. Little Hogue Deca. Now this is the MagnaCut one. It's a little cheaper, and I just did a video, I don't know if it'll post before this one or after, on a cheap knife, needing a cheap knife, and everybody's budget's a little different. And I featured, I'll go ahead and do that, this is a good one to compare in here, this Buck, I think it's Bantam or Banter, whatever it is, the $286. You can look it up. Is not a bad little, you know, cheap pocket knife. 25 bucks. So we bring that in for a size comparison as well. Now these two actually compare really, really good. And for a $25 knife versus, I think, to my door, by the time I was said and done, was like $130, $135 with tax and ship, or there was no shipping, but tax and stuff. So 135 bucks is not a cheap knife, but neither is 160. And this one, I think, was about 140, or is 140 now by the time you get it to your door with tax and stuff. This Kershaw, I think, was $120 knife. So, I mean, these aren't cheap knives to go losing or anything like that. And when you compare size and everything, boy, does this one flex? Yeah, you can almost make that touch. So yeah, it flexes. Does this one flex? Let's first look at that liner if we can. I'll try to get some light to get shining in there, maybe a little too different. Oh, maybe you can there a little. That liner, it does come back to this here, and it's thin straight up through here. So it only comes back to that first one. It doesn't drop down. I think the first original Hogue Decas, I think that liner may have came down lower. They had an extra screw there, but everybody complained about all the hardware that you don't need that. And I'm sure with maybe the G10 scales, what I'm going to show you may not be an issue. And this, I don't think is an issue either, but it does squeeze a little bit. Not quite as much as the K320, but a heck of a lot less than the Buck. But you can see some movement there, and you can feel it, you know, some. Now, when you grip this normally and you try to squeeze that, yeah, I can still feel it move. I can feel this move a little bit down in there when I'm getting really serious on a grip. That gives the impression where, hey, this may feel cheap to somebody, which it might. For me, it's never going to bother me. I notice it, but for normal use and stuff, it's never going to bother me. The clip here is also a little soft. This I'm going to put to use here in this next week, and I'll update you on that clip, because I don't wear full blue jeans. I wear mechanics / kind of dressier slacks. So they're a thinner material than a blue jean. I'm wondering how that'll hold up. The action, as almost every Hogue that I've had, is this perfect. I mean, I wouldn't do anything more to that. I can control it shut. I can pop it open with that. So, I mean, you can do a wrist flick real easy. Opens really, that's perfect. And that's one thing that I really like about the bar lock style here. It's what I liked about Sig's arc lock back in the day. It actually worked better, smoother than any of these bar locks do. These are really great, but no matter what, they still have a feel of a stick when you very first pull it. If you snap it too hard or something like that, that SOG arc lock was the right way to go. This, closing this, just, I either have to do it up against my leg or try to do it one-handed. Just not worth carrying for me. Not when I may get it out 20, 30 times. Now, carrying it on the weekend or anything like that, yeah, that'd be great. This, just that lock there, I don't like that lock. I don't like, this one doesn't open too bad. The other one does not open as well, the smaller one that I have, but that may just be that particular unit. The spring may be a little tighter. So this is what I'm going to rock for a week. I wanted to show a little of those differences like I said, I don't think a review is anywhere near a right word for what I want to look for when I'm watching a video. I want to see how it compares, that try to get an idea of how it would ride in my pocket, try to get an idea of how it would fit in my hand, you know. But it's hard to get that from anybody's video, and I'm sure mine's not as good as what some of the other guys can present. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, ask any question, comment, bottom, below. But I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.